The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Alrighty, good morning. This is Allison. I'm one of the forecasters here, and I will be delivering today's briefing for January 20th, 2026. We'll be going over just an overview of the weather for this week, but also going into a little bit of detail about a potentially significant snowstorm for this weekend for the area. Before moving forward in my presentation here, I just kind of want to give a broad overview of what we're looking at this week. The first part of this week, we've got high pressure moving in, chilly weather, but not totally unseasonable for January. Chilly, dry weather for the first half of this week. And then once we get towards the later half of the week, that's when we start looking at the potential for winter weather. Starting maybe even as early as Friday. We'll talk a little bit more about that moving forward here. And then Saturday and even into Sunday so a prolonged winter weather event this weekend is what we'll be going into some more detail about here shortly. All right. Before I get there, though, I do want to make a note about temperatures for tonight. It's going to be another cold one. We're looking at wind chills in the morning, being in the lower teens, around 10 for the Piedmont, and just overall a rather chilly start to Wednesday. Okay. All right, so let's start talking about this weekend. So we have a pretty high confidence in at least seeing moderate winter weather, winter storm impacts over almost the entire area. Maybe a little bit lower probabilities in the far southeast, but for the most part, we're looking at pretty high confidence and at least moderate impacts of from winter weather, and even looking at pretty high probabilities even for major impacts. And I do want to note there's a level above major impacts called extreme, and there's even some low end probabilities of seeing even extreme impacts from this storm. And this would be from a mixture of snow and ice, and we'll break down where we're expecting each of those things. Now, so on the left, this is our the risk for snow and sleet, and then on the right, ice. So staying here, most of the area seeing pretty significant impacts potentially from snow and sleet, but even across the along and south of 64 here, you're seeing even potential risk from icing, which creates its own list of problems, of course. All right. Now I want to kind of bring in our national blend of models here and talk about how this storm kind of looks like it's going to evolve. Obviously, we're still at a point where exact timing and intensities and stuff are subject to change, but I just kind of want to go over what we're looking at right now. All right, so main event still looks like it's going to be later, mid to late weekend, Saturday, Sunday time period. I do want to make a note that there are a few models that are showing some precipitation from kind of a separate system coming through on Friday. So kind of a low end probability at this point, but on Friday we could see some rain, and it's really hard to tell because it's a very light color, but maybe even some mixed precip getting up as far northwest as even maybe Richmond. Compared to what we're looking at later in the weekend, if this were to occur, not looking at it as being not nearly as grand in scale per se, but still maybe a little bit of a precursor event on Saturday. All right, and then as we move into as early as Saturday morning, you could have some wintry precip coming in. Looks like mostly snow at that point Saturday morning, and then progressing through the day Saturday. By the time you get into late Saturday afternoon, you've got snow over most of the area, and then maybe some these pinks and reds down here, sleet and freezing rain. So maybe even some sleet and freezing rain, either mixing in or changing over Saturday evening. And then this is where some of our uncertainty comes into play. So you'll see here as we go into the Saturday night time period, those pinks and reds, they really get a little stronger and push and try to push their way a little further north. This is where there's still some uncertainty about precipitation type and therefore potential amounts of either snow or ice. So this is where we're going to be watching for, well, really everywhere we're watching for potential changes at this range, but especially across the south is where we're going to be looking at the most uncertainty as far as precipitation type and amounts. So this is a prolonged event. So at this point, this is Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And then even going through Sunday, we're looking at, snow, maybe some mixed precip, potentially even changing over to rain in the far southeast. And then potentially not drying out until Sunday night. All right. So at this point, we're going to talk about amounts a little bit. It is still too early for an official snowfall forecast from us as far as amounts that we're looking at, but we can talk a little bit about probabilities and a range of solutions. So looking at this is the 25th percentile snowfall. So this is kind of what we like to look at as maybe even like a low end amount. And as you can see, even our low end amount, is 5 to 6 inches over a bunch of a good chunk of the area, 3 to 4 in the south. So even if we hit on the lower end of potential snowfall amounts, we're still looking at least winter storm warning criteria and greater for snowfall. But on the higher end there, so this is the probability of 8 inches or more of snow. And as you can see, it's pretty high probabilities for a good chunk of the area. So you've got much of the area except for maybe North Carolina is in that 60 to 70% range. That means like 60 to 70% of the model solutions are giving us 8 inches or more of snow. And on that note, for even 12 inches, so even a foot, you've got a good chunk of the area in that 40 to 60 range for even 12 inches or more of snow. So still a lot of time for things to potentially shift, but we are getting increasing confidence in this being a potentially significant event. I see we have a question about temperatures after the storm. I am getting there, so we will cover that shortly. Actually now. So we're going to talk about temperatures. So looking ahead to this weekend and next week, pretty high confidence in being below normal temperatures. And so this is our max and minimum temperatures for the next week, as well as our precip timing on the right here. For the Saturday, even until Tuesday, many places aren't going to see temperatures above freezing. We're going to stay pretty cold, at least until through early next week. And if you look over here in this middle image here of low temperatures, I mean, you're looking at single-digit low temperatures in the overnight period, and that's going to be rather significant, and we could even see lower temperatures depending on snowpack and how much snow or ice were to fall. And then just hitting on that precip timing thing again. So you've got those low end precip chances for Friday and then Saturday morning, and then going into Saturday afternoon, that's when our precipitation chances really ramp up, and going even into Sunday and maybe even Sunday night. Okay, so I'll definitely pause for questions at the end. I do want to talk about the marine forecast just real quickly. Breezy, but not small craft criteria per se for the next few days. And then once we get towards Friday, Saturday, that's when it looks like winds will really start to ramp up on the waters as that storm system approaches. Looking at this is the max wind gusts through Friday, so you can see pretty breezy, but falling just short of small craft criteria for the most part. Maybe a few breezy periods on Wednesday, but overall sub small craft until we get to this weekend when that storm is gonna, when those storms are gonna, when the storm system's gonna start moving through. We've got some higher elevated onshore winds, and that's relevant even to land areas, especially near the coast, where conditions are going to be pretty breezy, and with the snow, you could get some blowing snow conditions, especially near the coast. And then wave heights for the next 84 hours here, generally sub small craft. All right, I'm going to pause on this highlight slide for you to look over, and I can try to answer some questions here.